नमस्कार, जय हिंद एवरीवन। आज हमने बुलाया है अपने साथ में बातचीत करने के लिए एडवोकेट हर्षवर्धन। एडवोकेट हर्षवर्धन practices in front of the Delhi High Court, the AFT branch of the principal bench of AFT, which is in Delhi, and also the Lucknow High Court and AFT Lucknow. He has more than 10 years of experience of practice, and he is in LLB from the prestigious Symbiosis Law College. He specializes in matters relating to armed forces. So we have invited him today about a topic which is gaining a lot of traction. A lot of people wanted to know about it, so we have invited him today. The topic is about the reduction in the commutation duration by an order of one of the honorable high courts, and then in another case in front of the Armed Forces Tribunal. So welcome to today's talk, Advocate Harshvardhan.
Thank you, sir.
Right, Jito, without any ado, let me ask you the opening question. If you can touch in brief, very brief, the background of the case, which is there in, from what I know, my research says that this is the initial case was filed by some pensioners in the armed forces, not the armed forces tribunal, the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court, and there was an interim order. And using that as a senior naval officer also filed a similar case in the Armed Forces Tribunal principal bench. Again, there has been a order. If you can touch upon the basic points of that Armed Forces Tribunal as well as the Punjab and Haryana High Court order.
Originally, the genesis of this case uh, lies in the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court, where some certain pensioners had approached the Honorable High Court primarily with the prayer seeking restoration of the commuted value of pension after 11 and a half years instead of the usual 15 years. That is the usual period for which most of the central government pensioners have to repay the installments or dues when they opt for commuting their pension at the time of the retirement or soon thereafter. So it was contended that owing to the prevailing interest rates, the recovery of the amount that has been given to the pensioner as commuted value is fulfilled after 11 and a half years, whereas the government continues to deduct the installments from the pension of those pensioners till 15 years, which is incorrect. So the Honorable High Court had taken note of this submission made to the Honorable Court, and recognizing the merit in this argument, it had given certain temporary, or I would say interim orders granting stay on the recovery, any further recovery of those pensioners who were before the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court. Originally, as per my information and my knowledge, initially the first case or the first bunch of cases was filed way back in first half of 2023, whereby an order dated 3rd May 2023 was passed by the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court. If I am able to recall, it was the case of Sheila Devi, I believe. There's a lady, Sheila Devi, and versus the state of Punjab, and this was the first case. Thereafter, a number of such similar cases were filed in the same Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court, and till date, I believe there have been tens of hundreds of cases which are currently pending before the Honorable High Court over there. And similar stays have been given to each and every petitioner who has approached the Honorable Court and filed a petition seeking similar relief. Now, this is Punjab and Haryana High Court, and these are all civilian pensioners of the state of Punjab or Haryana. Now, this same logic actually applies to defense forces pensioners as well, and a senior not a naval officer, in fact, sir, it was an air force officer, an air vice marshal, who had approached the honorable AFT and certain other people as well. He's not the only one. There are certain other people who have approached the honorable AFT. However, I have seen that there's an order of that air force officer which is circulating on various WhatsApp groups. So the applicant, because in AFT we call the petitioner is referred to as the applicant. So the applicant in that particular OA has also raised similar or more or less exactly the same reliefs, and has prayed for granting further stoppage of recovery from his pension on account of the commuted value, similar to the petitioners before the Honorable High Court of Punjab and Haryana. And today, its order of 22nd July 2024, the Honorable AFT Principal Bench at New Delhi has also granted a interim stay on the recovery, on any further recovery from the applicant's pension. There are some other cases as well. There's a case of a JCO, Subhadra Trilokchan, whereby similar orders have been granted, and there a stay has been granted on any further recovery from the pension of the applicant. This is the background of the case.
तो जो मुझे समझ आया, and I'm not an advocate, so correct me where I understand properly. Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court में there are cases from the state government employees against the Punjab government for recovery of commutation का जो है उसको कम करने के लिए कि जिनका 11 साढ़े 11 साल में हो गया, और उसी चीज को आधार मानते हुए taking that as a basis for or so as to say there's some legal principle na that everyone is equal types करके, तो उसके
parity seek करते हुए
parity yeah, basis on that parity. So there are some cases already there where interim relief has been granted to some petitioners under or not under by the Armed Forces Tribunal as well, which is officers, non-officers across. I mean, all the defense pensioners, those who have approached the Armed Forces Tribunal. Now,
and sir, I would like to add that in the AFT principal bench order that I just referred to, the Honorable AFT has placed reliance on the interim stay orders of the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court while granting a similar stay or similar relief to the applicants before the AFT. So, as I stated in the earlier part of my talk, the genesis of this case lies in that Punjab and Haryana High Court. And by placing reliance on that, and because the applicant before the AFT was also seeking parity with the petitioners of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, similar stay has been granted while placing reliance on that High Court order.
Now you are, what you are telling me, if you can also touch upon the brief points of that interim oblique the interlocutory order, whatever one may like to call it.
Yes,
what are the brief points basis which this particular interim order has been, or what does the interim order briefly say?
So, in essence, it says that the applicant has sought parity with the petitioners before the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court. Sheila Devi versus State of Punjab and other similar cases have been cited in that AFT order. I believe that AFT order is already circulating on the values legal aid groups. So I'm sure most of our viewers today would have seen that order, sir. So it's a very short order. It's just 2 or 3 odd pages. And since it's an interim order, it's not a final order yet. Being an interim order is very crisp and very short. It says that the applicant is seeking parity with the petitioners of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, and seeks, in effect, it's the applicant seeks stoppage of recovery from the pension on account of the commuted value at 11.5 years instead of 15 years. So, though the court is yet to examine the larger issue in detail, because that will happen at the final argument stage, but the Honorable AFT has been pleased to issue an interim order in favor of the applicants, staying any further recovery till the time this matter is decided finally. So, in a sense, this is the very the crux of the matter is this. It's very short.
Who are the individuals prior to that? So, what you are trying to tell me here is basic implication. I just want to understand it in a more layman terms. If let's say I am an affected individual, I have drawn my pension for say 12 odd years, and I have still another 3 years to go for the recovery of the commuted value.
Yes, sir.
Then I can approach the AFT or the High Court as applicable. For the non-defense pensioners, it might be High Court. And then I can seek, basis that parity thing, I can seek a interim stoppage on recovery of the commuted amount from my pension.
Yes, sir. Till the time of final disposal of this case, of whatever cases that have already been filed, and whoever chooses to approach the AFT individually. So it is my understanding, and as per the norms, as per the legal precedent, the others who also approach the AFT will most likely be granted similar stay. There is one point I forgot to add earlier. In those cases which are in the AFT, There is one additional prayer which I should have added. I'm sorry, I forgot to add it earlier. Those who have already crossed the 11 and a half mark, 11 and a half year mark. So I believe the gentleman Air Force officer is much beyond that point, but not beyond 15 years yet. So they have also sought for refund of the excess recovery that has been made. And that is one of the prayers in the Honorable AFT. Though in this particular order that we are citing, as of now, the Honorable Armed Forces Tribunal has not granted any relief, nor has it disallowed or rejected that relief. That has been left open for consideration at the final stages. But yes, that is also one of the issues that the Honorable AFT will be examining at the appropriate stage. So whoever has paid more, who was, let's say, who was at 12-year or 13-year mark post retiring from the armed forces. So those officers and soldiers, ex-servicemen, can seek refund of the excessive amount that has been paid. Of course, this will all be subject to the final outcome of the case, which we will know in due course. As of now, there's only a stay order as far as further recovery is concerned.
फिर से सर आपने जो बताया इससे now this is basically it's getting more interesting. So those who have paid, they can seek for a recovery beyond the excessive payments done. जिनकी अभी 15 की commuted time पूरा नहीं हुआ है and they can seek for a stoppage. So
Yes,
that
sir.
means आने वाले time में हो सकता है जिनके 1-2 साल पहले commuted amount बंद हुए हैं, they can also seek for a recovery. At least they can move to the court and let the honorable court decide as to what is applicable or what is not applicable.
Yes,
Am I
sir, correct.
correct in my understanding?
I think you are absolutely right, sir.
Okay. So if I understand correctly, that means almost all defense pensioners will be impacted, and if they approach the court, they can get benefited by these developments.
Not only defense pensioners, though our audience largely comprises of armed forces pensioners, but for the benefit of those those of our members and viewers who are, let's say, not armed forces pensioners but drawing pension from other government entities, this is a fundamental principle that would apply equally to anyone who has opted for receiving or opted for commuting their pension. So across boundaries, this principle shall apply. That is what I've been given to understand.
Right. So it is any pensioner once he or she approaches the honorable courts as applicable to them,
Yes, sir.
stands to gain from this particular change.
Yes.
Okay. Would you be able to give me a very basic, small, step-by-step process if I intend to apply for such kind of interim relief? What should I do now? Besides engaging an advocate, that part I understand.
Of course.
Okay, let's say I engage an advocate. Now, what next?
Before I answer that, sir, I would like to inform our viewers that engaging an advocate is not a sine qua non, first of all. In the Honorable Armed Forces Tribunal or any court for that matter, one has the liberty to represent their own case. However, not for others. They can act for themselves, but they cannot act for others unless permission, special permission has been granted to them by the court. But in ordinary cases, uh, one can represent themselves. So engaging in advocate services is one option. The other option is to, if one is capable enough and feels comfortable with the court procedures and the way the drafting is supposed to be done, they could theoretically handle their own case in the Honorable AFT. Okay, so now moving on to what the general procedure would be like. Sir, I'll just give a brief general idea, a brief idea as to how one can go about it, with or without an advocate, of course. The most fundamental or most basic requirement of approaching the Honorable Armed Forces Tribunal is to draw up an application, the application or petition. So in the Honorable AFT, the application or petition is referred to as an OA, and OA stands for original application. So the most basic requirement would be to draw up an original application. The format for original application is given as an appendix of the AFT Act 2007. Uh, so once the OA has been drafted, the OA would be filed in the registry of the AFT, and after following certain procedures, the case would be listed on the honorable court or in the honorable bench. And on the first day, the arguments would be heard by the honorable court on the point of admission and of interim relief, since already some cases have succeeded in obtaining interim orders or stay orders. So these chances of getting a stay in this prospective applicant's cases are also very high. Though nothing is a given, everything depends on a case to case basis. But if the prospective applicant or petitioner were to place reliance on the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court order as well as the AFT order of 22nd and 24th July, they are quite likely to obtain a stay in their case as well. And by stay, I mean stay on further recovery of the pension till the final disposal of this. So it will take some time, whatever time it takes. In due course of time, the case will be listed for final hearing. Both sides, that is the applicant as well as the Union of India or the Ministry of Defense, will get to their lawyers or the petitioners themselves will get a chance to make submissions and argue their case before the Honorable AFT. And thereafter, the Honorable AFT will pass a reasoned and detailed order. So, in a nutshell, this is the procedure. I think that's about it, sir.
So मैं इस बात को थोड़ा सा रिवाइज कर देता हूँ लोगों के लिए। आपको करना यह है कि अगर आप खुद से भी अपना केस फाइल करना चाहते हैं तो आर्म फोर्सेस एक्ट 2007 के अपेंडिक्स के हिसाब से अपना एप्लीकेशन तैयार कीजिए। उस एप्लीकेशन को ओरिजिनल एप्लीकेशन बोलते हैं। उस एप्लीकेशन को लेकर के साथ में उसमें रिक्वायर्ड एक कोर्ट फीस लगती है, वो कोर्ट फीस लगा के अपने सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट्स को लगा के रजिस्ट्री ऑफ द कोर्ट इज बेसिकली द फाइलिंग ऑफिस ऑफ द कोर्ट, वहां जाकर के आप लगाएंगे। वो आपकी चिट्ठी को या उस एप्लीकेशन को एक्सेप्ट करके आपको उसकी एक कॉपी पे एक्सेप्टेंस दे देंगे कि हाँ जो आपकी फाइल हो गया है, और उस फाइल का आपको एक नंबर दे देंगे। उसके बाद में एज पर दी अवेलेबिलिटी या उनके इंटरनल अरेंजमेंट के हिसाब से किसी बेंच के सामने वो लिस्ट हो जाएगा। उस दिन आपको जाकर के अपना केस आर्ग्यू करना रहेगा, जहाँ आप हवाला देंगे अदर एएफटी ऑर्डर्स का या सिमिलरली ये जो पंजाब एंड हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट वाला है।
Yes.
And then you'll argue whether your application should be admitted for a further case to be run or not. If it is admitted, interim relief, which again would be a prayer you'll be making in your original application. And फिर भारत सरकार के साथ आप लिटिगेशन करेंगे, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स अपना केस लड़ेंगे, और उस तरह से आपका आने वाले टाइम में जितनी बार तारीख आएगी आपको जाकर के अपने तरफ के आर्गुमेंट से लेंगे। इज दैट करेक्ट एडवोकेट वर्मा?
यस सर, एब्सोल्युटली। आपने इनफैक्ट मुझसे ज्यादा अच्छे तरीके से इन अ मच बेटर एंड डिटेल्ड मैनर आपने एक्सप्लेन किया है। सो ग्रेटफुल फॉर दैट सर।
So this is how the process is for all those who want to utilize this particular ongoing and those who want to join the particular ongoing legal thing which is happening. Right. Thank you so much, Advocate Vardhan. We were having a conversation with the Advocate Harshvardhan, who is, as I said, who is practicing in AFT Principal Bench Delhi. AFT is also practicing in front of the Honorable Delhi and Haryana High Court. We discussed about the ongoing legal things or the legal procedure which is ongoing about the reduction in commutation duration for recovery of commuted amount from pensioners under the state governments or the central governments of the Union of India and the state of India. Thank you so much for your time, Advocate Vardhan.